All right, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. We just, harvested things all weekend long, and I canned some salsa, and I told you guys before, I buy a lot of my seeds online, and one of the places I buy them from is Baker Creek. If you listen to their videos, these people are just incredible. They know so much about all of this. They grow heirloom seeds I think their site is rareseeds.com. And anyhow, I got some tomato seed from them, and one of them was a black vermissage tomato. And those things they're not very big. They're about the size of a Campari. If you ever shop at Costco, you see the Campari tomatoes that are on the vine, and they come in the little clamshell tins. I haven't been in Costco in a long time, but I used to get them there, and so they're about that size. They're not a big tomato, and they're kind of mushy on the inside, a lot of seeds. But I thought, they're very sweet and very flavorful, and I've used them. I've stir-fried them and sautéed them and put them over some pasta. Really, really good. They're great raw on hamburgers, in salads, and anything. But then again, you're dealing with kind of a not as firm a tomato. Anyhow, I thought it'd be great. The color of them, they're a weird color. They're kind of dark inside, and they're striped and speckled, and they're just an interesting looking tomato, and they look quite black when they're growing, black and red, and there's some green on it. Not green, so it's not ripe, but they're just a very cool tomato. Anyway, I made 6 pints yesterday of salsa, and I have to say, it's the best salsa I've ever made. It is. I added my own garlic and onion into it, and I use a mix. I just use a mix because I don't know how to make salsa. I really don't. So anyhow, I have a mix this powder stuff I put in, and that adds all the seasonings and everything. But I have to say, I think it's the best I've done. And even though, I'm not somebody who does this, I know a guy who does everything from scratch. He doesn't use any mixes, any pre-done powdered mixes, none of it. He just does it. And his, it's so hot that you can't eat. I can't eat it. My husband likes it, but I can't eat it. It's too hot. But it's good. It really is. So anyhow, that's what we've been doing all weekend long. And so I wasn't here yesterday because I was making salsa instead. So anyway, it was a holiday though. So, and I don't always take the holidays off. So I thought I would that. My husband's like, but it's a holiday. What are you doing? Take the day off. So I did, and I will tell you, go over to Stepping Aside over at imsteppingaside.com, my blog, and the monthly tarot's up, the monthly geomancy is up, the weekly moon and rune, or rune and moon, is also up. Today, I didn't do any correspondences yesterday because of the holiday, but I did do them today. They're up. And so what are we today? So the moon is still in Scorpio, today in the second house. So Scorpio is going to bring some intense emotional, stuff today, possibly. Either that or else it's going to be very focused. Might be a very focused day for you. The second house, it could focus on possessions. Let's see, Earth dominates, so practical matters, things like that, routine kinds of things. Will and creativity and intellect and reason, though, fire and air are at minimum today. So whenever I'm like that, I just sort of putter. Just wander around, see what needs to be done. Don't plan. Just you come upon something that needs doing and do it. It seems to work well in days like this when my initiative is declining and I can't think clearly. So, but then I'm in the crone phase of life. So, that's kind of a daily occurrence, really. that and no sleeping and all of that. It's always so much fun. I keep forgetting to do my crone tinctures at night. If I do that, I would sleep better. But I forgot. So, and I've been forgetting. So I think I need to set an alarm or something on my phone. Anyhow, let's go ahead. I think that's it as far as, let's see, we're in the waxing phase of the moon. Still got some retrograde planets. We have a numerology, let's see, numerology of 3 today, being the 3rd day of September. So, and September is a 9-month, so you're talking about the energies of completion, but you're also talking today the triple aspect, essentially, of the 3. 3, 3, and 3 is 9. So it's a multiple as well, but in a sense, it kind of is a triple aspect of it. So we're really looking at mind, body, spirit, trying to stay in balance today. And, if we can probably just relax and let that happen, let the earth energies pull you into that alignment, basically, between earth and spirit. So that might be the approach to take. I think that probably aligns well with the elements today. If you're doing magic today, though, this is a Mars day, being a Tuesday, so you're looking at again, willful kinds of things, so since it's sort of at a minimum, you might want to include some things on the altar to sort of shore up the missing elements, if you will. So maybe have a lot of citrine on there, for air, and for fire, you might want to have some jasper or something like that. And if things are in flux, you might want to include maybe some, something, like obsidian or black tourmaline or something like that to sort of tamp down those energies, kind of keep things more grounded. But those are the kinds of influences you're going to be thinking about today. So let's go ahead and get started with our first card. I think I've shuffled enough. Some days I just draw the same cards. I've been doing that with another deck I have. It's another Rider-Waite deck. It's not this one. I think it's not the Universal. I'm not sure which Rider-Waite it is, but I keep drawing the same cards with it. It's just weird. Anyhow, let's take our first card for the day. Ooh. Almost dropped a card. 13. All right. I take the 13th card if you haven't been here before. Oh, and if you haven't and you're here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. And if you've come back, thank you. It's nice to see everyone. Click subscribe if you haven't. I'd love you to do that. Oh, and subscribe to my blog. That'd be awesome too. Well, today I pulled the World for the first card. It's the 21st card of the Major Arcana, sometimes known as the Universe. But here we come full circle. We see the elements represented in each corner. We see the nude person in the middle, undeveloped potential in the middle of the, I don't know if you want to call that a garland or what you want to call it, but you see the lemniscate both above and below there, the figure 8, illustrating the cycles of life. We've come to the end of things here. September is again a month of completion. It's also a month of beginnings. People are, if you're a student, you're going back to school this month, typically. Some people start in August. College usually starts toward the end of the month. And of course, the other elementary and high school and all of that, they start now. In fact, today might be their first day. I have not looked yet to see where the hurricane is. So some people might be not doing anything, but just trying to survive that. I guess it really, it's just destroyed the Bahamas, I'm sure. The pictures I've seen, you've got people that are in their attics and the water is coming in a 2-story house, by the way. So I saw pictures of that. So our thoughts need to be with everyone who's experiencing this. This is awful for them. It just never seems to end. And we want to struggle against the notion of climate change. But, clearly the climate is changing. Now we can decide, and argue about how that's happening, but the climate is changing and we still need to contend with it. You don't take FEMA dollars away. You don't take for a wall that's never going to be built. You don't do the things that reduce effectiveness, right? When people are in need. That just seems to be what's going on these days, though. So I think at some point, when you see the world card, you're not just taking stock of your life and starting a new cycle, basically, and whether that involves, someone dying and then, becoming someone else when they reincarnate. You can look at it that way, but you can also look at it in terms of just cycles in your own life. Or maybe, it could even just have to do with something more specific, say a project's coming to an end or something like that. But in a sense, we begin anew, taking with us all the experiences that we've had in the world. It's a 3 energy, and the 21 is a 3 energy, so it aligns well with today in terms of manifestation. What will we manifest in our life? Or what have we and what will we manifest in the next one? Or the next cycle or the next phase? But here, at the end of it all elements are in balance. It's all there, no judgment. Simply experiences to reflect on. We get caught up in the judgment, but the judgment, aspect of everything, the whole I'm going to get in trouble for that kind of thing, that's all here. That's all personality. That's all part of physical form. That's not part of spirit. With spirit, it's just things to experience, and you take what you can from it. It either worked out or it didn't, and you learn something from it. That's all it is. But instead, everything just has the weight of the world essentially on it, doesn't it, for us? Let's do another card and see where we're going with this. See if it either describes what's been or what's coming. Well, the 7 of Pentacles, again, we take stock. This reminds me of my husband. He's out there in the field doing irrigation, and he has a shovel with him. Sometimes he'll just stand, lean on the shovel, look around, drink some coffee. We used to have round fence posts on our 5 acres. We used to everywhere, And if we couldn't find cups, we just have to go outside and look on the fence posts because he'd leave them there. He's like, "Where's my cup?" He's like, "Well, go check the fence post." 7s are about balance, balancing shadow side of self with spirit. It can also mean balanced polarity. But here, what we're looking at with the 7 of Pentacles, we're talking about the physical manifestation. We're talking about the earth element. We're talking about practical matters, routine, home and hearth, income, tradition, inheritance, heritage. We're talking about that. And so here, he's basically just taking stock of what he has. And after harvest, this is a time of harvest. I'm sure, like us, you're doing the same. If you're growing a garden, you're harvesting something. You're doing it all the time. We just planted some more broccoli today. Today or tomorrow we'll likely plant the cauliflower transplants we started, and for the fall garden. So we're always doing something around here. But 7 is about allowing yourself to come to rest and take stock and allowing things to settle. So if we're making a transition then with the world from one phase to another, what it's telling us is before beginning, allow things to settle out. This is true in our interactions as well. If interactions are difficult, sometimes you just have to go to your corner and let things settle out before, in other words, let emotions come down. And today, with Scorpio being in the moon in Scorpio, we're a little bit emotional right now, and possibly anyway. There's a lot of, things are in flux. Things are not stable in a sense. We don't feel necessarily secure. And so the focus then would be to understand that whatever's going on could be part of a cycle, and that sometimes we just have to stop and just let everything settle before we move on. Let's do another card. Well, okay, I think that's where we're at today. I really do. Here we have the Three of Swords. We see rain in the background. You know, these suits are rarely simply what they are, you know, so this is the suit of swords, and so that's the air element, but we've got emotion in this, don't we? We have a sword in the middle that stands in front of the other two. So this is about slander and betrayal and jealousy. Something's happening behind our backs, things that it can also mean deception, betrayal again. It's a weird kind of balance though, isn't it? You see the triplicity there again. We're looking at a 3 energy. And I think I'm not going to draw a 4th card. I think I'm going to go and have the terminating 3 and 3. We've got the 21 on one end, which is a 3 energy, and then the 3 here. I think that what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to switch them. And I'm going to start with the 3 of Swords. And we're going to, so the basic underlying thing here is some kind of interaction that's gone awry. Either we've gotten into an argument with someone, or there's been some betrayal. We've got friends or family or coworkers or whatever that are trying to sabotage us, perhaps. And I think that it's hard to see what you have in that moment, especially if it's something that's really upsetting. If it's a relationship that you value and things are not going well, it can be an extraordinarily difficult situation to experience. I know I'm in one right now, and it's extraordinarily difficult. It's confusing. It's you never know where it's going to go. Especially if there's no more interaction, and if you don't know why. Sometimes people get ideas in their heads that are just not right, but they run with them, right? And that's what you see here in the 3 of Swords. But it's extraordinarily destructive if you never communicate your concerns to someone and then you walk away from them. You leave them wondering, well, what did I do? You know? And if it's a relationship that you should be valuing, you need to have that conversation with that person. You need to try to resolve it, or at least have them understand why what is happening, right? So I guess I just don't see the idea of betrayal and jealousy and all of that. Yes, that's part of the 3 of Swords, but I don't know that that's necessarily I don't think that that's the sum total of it. I think it can mean a lot of different things. I have honey on I'm doing my honey and lemon cleanse, and I've got honey all over this cup. That's all over my hands. But here, after experiencing it, okay, we have to take stock of what we have. It's easy when you're in the midst of a drama triangle, which is essentially what the 3 of Swords reflects. When you're in the middle of that, when you're in that conflict with people or someone or what have you, you can have such a sense of loss about it all that it's difficult to even know where to go. It's difficult to know which direction to move sometimes. And so I think with the 7 of Pentacles, what it's asking us to do is, because of this issue that we're having, call it a drama triangle, call it betrayal, call it, you know, problems with someone, whatever you want to call this, whatever's happening here, it's describing something like that, whatever. And it's an emotional thing. It's based on, you know, a lot of talking that shouldn't be happening. A lot of people have decided things that just simply probably are not true, you know, about this other person. And so you have to let, in terms of everyone, but if you're the person in the center that's the target of this, then you have to simply take stock of who you are, what you have, and realize that you are more than whatever this is reflecting, and that you have more resources at your disposal, more emotional resources, more, you know, intellectual will, financial, whatever you want to call it. You have more resources than you realize because you are spirit. Therefore, spirit should be informing this process. And so it allows you then, when you realize that, to step back from the drama and view it with a more dispassionate, viewpoint, I suppose. But with the Seven of Pentacles, you're allowing things to settle out. If you've envisioned the scales, the seven is the numerical representation of the scales, where 4 is the resting point and 3 are the pans. And so what you want to do is you want to become, the man is in a sense the 4 in the 7, and he's the resting point. He's going to let everything settle out, and that he has more than he realizes, because this right here is representative of the struggle. And while this may feel like that's all that's going on in your life and it's the biggest thing ever, it's not. It just isn't. There's more of you left than what these people want to do to you. And that's what the Seven of Pentacles is telling us. And then we come to the World, again, a 3 energy, mind, body, spirit alignment, allowing the 7 to work for you to your advantage, and allowing that balance and that truth to really come out, to allow the polarity to balance, both on the horizontal plane, of physical manifestation, and also on the vertical plane of spirit versus form. So you want to be in the center of that cross, basically, all balanced, well, with a heavier weight on spirit, but that's just to be expected. But here it's showing us that we're going to actually go, and that this could actually be a temporary thing. In other words, my mother used to say, this too shall pass. Used to drive me nuts. It's like, no, it won't, Mom. Mom was right. Sadly. Moms always are, though. Yes, we are. Let's do a rune, though, and see. I'm not going to draw a 4th card again because I've got 3s on either end, and I've got the balance in the middle. So, in a sense, what we have, before we look at that rune, ooh, it's Othala, so we do want to look at that. This is what we have. Well, like this, right? It's got the scales. I like things to be visual. I don't know why, but I do. I think it has meaning. So we've got, let's see, 3 and 3 is 6 and 7, excuse me, is 13, which you can leave as the Master Witch number. Think Hagalaz, destruction and preparation for change. You could think that. Or you could think 4. You could reduce it to 4 if you want to. And again, that's structure and foundation. And it's also coming to, if you think the 4 of Swords, you're allowing for your mind to come to settle, basically. So again, I think we're fine with this whole notion of letting things settle. I think that's reinforced by the numerology of the cards. Here we have Othala. And we're going to talk about this one. Othala is the 24th rune of the Elder Futhark, so it's a 6 energy, so it's higher self-influence. But basically, Othala is, it's our ancestry, it's our heritage, it's everything coming into who we are. In a sense, it's the world, okay? Being the last rune of the Elder Futhark, this is the last card of the tarots, of the major arcana anyway. But what we're looking at here, and I'll draw out, let's see if I get this a little bit better here. I'm going to draw out Othala, and I'm going to show you what it's made of. The runes sometimes are just like Isa is one line, okay, and so it's Isa. But here we have Othala, okay. What we also have is Ingus, or Ingwas, however you want to say it, which it can be drawn 2 different ways, and I'll draw them the other way too, so you can see. But at the top we have Ingwas, or Ingus. Can also be drawn as 2 X's, like a DNA strand. So So Athala is really, I mean, it's the world. It's the representation of the world in tarot. It's all things coming into balance. It's the end of things, really. The culmination of everything that everything our life has, as all of our experiences, all of our interactions. At the bottom, we have balanced energy exchange with Gebo. But contained within Gebo is Kenaz in 4 directions. And Kenaz is the light of spirit, basically the torch, illuminating our way. You can see that in 4 directions. This is the one that is the actual Kenaz. This one opens outward toward other people. This one opens inward to self. So the light of spirit within, the light of spirit without, as above and so below. So you see, Gebo, in terms of balanced energy exchange, we're really talking. I mean, if you were to turn it this way, what do you have? You have the cross, don't you? And we were just talking about that. Yeah, I just love this when everything just sort of aligns together, don't you? Let's do a geomancy rune to end this. We're doing pretty well on time here. Let's see if we can, geomancy, if you've not seen this, go over to the blog. The monthly geomancy's up over at imsteppingaside.com. Go over and check that out, and you can see what it looks like when a shield chart is done. And this is just, we're just going to do one rune, though, and see what it gives us. We're going to arrange this in the order of air, fire, water, and earth. So we've got a single dot for air. On these runes, I'll show you. There's a single dot on one side, indicating an active influence, and a dual dot on the other, indicating a passive influence. But right now, we have an active influence for fire. Let's see what we have for air. Another single dot for air. A dual dot for earth, and a dual dot for water. So we have Fortuna Minor, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's drawn out. Fortuna Minor is transitory or temporary success, as opposed to Fortuna Major, which is more sustainable. It's like baby steps. It's not that you won't ever have any more success after that. It's just that these are just small little either realizations, because you can talk about success in a variety of ways. It can be money, but it can also just simply energetically be gain or increase of some kind. And so, but its increase is temporary. So you're going to maybe resolve this or not or whatever, but you're going to have little baby steps along the way. So you'll have successes, but they'll just be a little more transitory and maybe terminate. So instead of like, say income that's sustainable, say you have a career, say you're a lawyer, you're going to be a lawyer all your life. Well, that's an example of Fortuna Minor or Major rather, where it's going to be projected income that's going to be sustainable. Whereas if you're, say, a contract worker or a temporary worker, you could think of that each individual job as being Fortuna Minor. They're successful. It's a positive experience. It's just not something that's going to necessarily last. But it builds on the future. So this is what it looks like. We had a lot of Fortuna Minor in the geomancy reading for the month. It was a strange one. I had so many consistencies. I had sometimes all of you'll see repetitive, you'll see, some redundancy within the shield chart, but this time, I had like three runes that I think it was Fortuna Minor and what else? Fortuna Minor and I can't think of the other two, but at this moment. But the point is I had 3 of them. Rubius was one of them. Populous, that was the other one, and then I had like 3 other single ones that appeared just once, and maybe 4, I don't know. But the point was I think Populous was like there were 5 of them, and 4 of Fortuna, no, 4 of Rubius and 3 of Fortuna Minor. That's what it was. And so you can see it's like there's such consistency throughout the month. It's so weird. But anyway, we're just talking, though, about transitory types of success or increase or or something like along those lines. And so what this is telling us here, I think, I mean, it can be an outlier. It could just be saying that whatever is going on here, particularly with this drama triangle, that at this point we can only expect so much out of it. It may not be, we may not be at the true resolution stage of what this is. This may just be something we just have to let go of it and just set it over in the corner on a shelf somewhere emotionally and just, it'll resolve itself or it won't. You stand ready to do that when the time comes, but it's not something you should probably initiate, particularly given that some people owe you an apology maybe. So, if there has been some slander and some jealousy or something like that behind the scenes, it's happening. I mean, you're feeling the effects of it. So, you're just going to have to decide whether or not, when you sit and you take stock, and you allow things to settle out, what do you want? You have to decide what you want. If the relationship is that important to you, then you may let things settle out. And at some point, when you feel like things have come full circle and you're ready to maybe start anew on this, maybe that's the time to try to resolve things. But if not, then it's clearly something that you need to wait for the other people involved or the other person involved to then say, well, maybe I was wrong and I'm sorry. So, and that's a tough thing for people to admit they're wrong. It is. It's tough. It's like you don't maybe want to let go of that one last piece of control that you have. And what that is over what you think and how you perceive something. And if you are in a situation here, I mean, what if the two people behind there, okay, that are causing the difficulty, what if they've really harmed you? What if this is a really serious thing? And maybe at work and they've done something and it's cost you a promotion or it's cost you, something, some positive, response or praise from the boss, because maybe they've taken your ideas and they've made them their own and, they're getting the accolades and it was your thing, right? And they've done this to you, see? So this could mean a lot of different types of experiences, right? Where there could be people behind the scenes trying to sabotage your efforts. And that's not a fun place to be. And so really it's the people that are causing the trouble that really need to fix the problem here. It's their problem, not yours. So anyhow, although, you're certainly involved, unfortunately. But it could just simply be, But I think Othala, what it's telling us is to look long term. There's more to your life than simply whatever this drama triangle is. There's more to your life than that. And so even if this is truly upsetting, and it likely is, you're still okay. And you're still here. And it's time now to just let things settle and take stock and allow the cycle to turn and to begin anew. And with an eye to the future, an eye to your legacy, an eye to, all that you've learned in life and all that you intend to experience going forward. So it may feel like a temporary form of success. It may feel like it's baby steps, but sometimes we have to function that way, especially when there are things going on behind the scenes that we don't truly understand. So maybe in a sense, maybe Fortuna Minor is just telling us to tread lightly. Maybe that's all it's doing. So anyhow, I guess that's it. I will be back tomorrow. There is no holiday. Yay. I have dental work on Thursday. I have to... We're going to do an implant, not yet though, and but that's going to be in the afternoon. So I'll do this again on Thursday morning. Then I'll have the weekend to heal. I have to have an implant done over here, so I have to pull what's left of this tooth. So he's going to do that, and then he's also going to do. I need a crown, but he has to do a restoration because too much broke off. And so, anyway, yeah, I'm just at that point in life where, if you've had so many fillings, eventually your tooth blows up. And so I had a lot of fillings. And so we've been watching and waiting. We knew it was going to happen. It was one of those things. And so now he's going to take and do some restoration work. And it's a new guy. And I saw him once and I like him. And everyone seems real low key. And I don't know, maybe this is the place. I'm just adopting a different attitude towards stuff like this these days, though. It's just, okay, we'll do this, and then I'll decide if I come back. And hopefully I will. I'm one of those people that likes to find a home with people, so I tend to stick with certain businesses. So I would prefer to stay with one doctor, one dentist. I like certain grocery stores. I have one bank, the bank I've always had. If I have the same insurance, well, no, I actually changed insurance companies, but the same one for our home. If I can work with somebody and things are going well, I would just rather stay with them than, be someone that flits about, But right now with dentists and all of that, and the weird experiences I've had with them, I don't know anymore. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. And again, a little Fortuna minor there, maybe, but baby steps and a little temporary success. We'll see if we can build on it, though. Anyway, I never thought I'd end up being like that, but I am now. So I've just had too many things happen. It's like, okay, stop, do the Seven of Pentacles, stop, take stock, let things settle out, figure out where you're going, what it is you want, and then move on. So anyhow. I really do try to let these things guide me sometimes. It's like, okay, what do I do? I'll take out the cards and I'll figure something out. So anyway, got to have a place to start. So maybe that's what we're doing here today. Anyhow, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming by and spending this time with us and helping to grow our tarot and rune family together as we talk about how tarot and runes influence our daily lives and how they can suggest, again, another way of thinking about things. So anyhow, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you again for coming by. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.